Back when I was in high school, um, I used to read a lot of these, graphic novels and comics and all that. I was more of a graphic novel person, really, just because, I don't know, you really had the full story here. You really, you could read a story from pretty much beginning to end. And I think that's what makes, for example, having a lot of these like published, like this in uh, trade paperbacks or hardcovers. It's amazing. It's amazing to think that these are available. Published like this. Kind of like how books are published, so that way people can read and people will end up reading great stories. I never really read manga a whole bunch, at least in terms of just like graphic novels, as I'm mentioning. I don't know why. I think it's just really because, I really like saw the anime adaptations and, I just thought, oh well, I might as well watch the anime if, you know, for the case of like some series, like for example, Shaman King. Shaman King's a really good series. Both anime and the manga, from what I've read, is good too. And yeah, and yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, you hear a lot of people say the manga is better and all that stuff, and oftentimes that is the case, and especially from like my experience, especially like even though I'm not like an avid manga reader, I could say that about for example, Rurouni Kenshin. Um, in my opinion, this is one of my favorite pieces of historical fiction. It takes place in the Meiji era of Japan. And there are a lot of things about it that actually make it historically accurate, but yet has these fictional characters and takes place it revolves around them, but yet these real world things happen around them. And I always thought that was cool, especially, you know, thinking of myself as a history major and all that. So yeah, I really read more, Western comics, typical, from, companies like, DC or Marvel, things along those lines, Vertigo, I can name a whole bunch of other, companies that publish comics and have like successful titles and all that stuff, whether it be indie or bigger companies, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of, no matter what companies and all that stuff or what brands, whatever you want to call it, there's always I always respect the writers of those stories, like I guess one that really comes to mind, and he wrote two great stories that I think still hold up really well, and that would be the Killing Joke and Watchmen, both by Alan Moore, and he knew how to do dark storylines, and like at least not without it looking too over the top, like not like something that you would think would be from like a writer like say Frank Miller who did Sin City or something, which is not to say that I don't like Sin City. Sin City is a fantastic series, but yeah, Alan Moore, there was always something about his work that was so down to earth but yet so dark. I think it was like how he wrote his characters, how he, just how he wrote the world, I would say. Now, this isn't to say that I never read a lot of, like, over the top, like, superhero stuff, I did read some stuff. Like, of course, I would usually read stuff like Spider-Man or things like that. And it was in high school in particular that I got into Spawn. You know, like speaking of Spider-Man, well, I say that because Todd McFarlane is artist for Spider-Man, and it's and yeah, McFarlane just it had a darker style, but at the same time there was like still like actiony, like explosion kind of stuff, like and that was always kind of fun for me. It's like for some reason, I don't know, just because it's like watching an action movie or something or some over the top thing. You know, almost makes me think of the crappy Spawn movie, with frickin' John Leguizamo. That movie was so bad. But yeah, I did read like superhero stuff and actiony, like over the top, goofy stuff as well. So that is something that I like consider when it comes to like my background reading comics and all that. Now with me constantly rambling on the type of comics I read and all that stuff, I guess the question may come to mind is at least to some people is why do you read, or why do you give a crap about all of this? Um it's overall hard to say. I guess the simple answer would be that I read this purely out of entertainment. It's like it's like if you wanted to go watch a movie or something like that. Sure, there's some kind of like, depending on the story and all that stuff, there can be some like, message to it, whether it be philosophical, political, whatever. Um, but, at the end of the day, I think it's entertainment, like it's made to purely, be a form of entertainment, a form of art, things like that. I mean, like whenever I see, comic art, like that looks really good. Like if it's from like Todd McFarlane or something, you know, um, I tend to think to myself, it's fucking beautiful. It's really good looking, and it can really tell a story. Like say if you were to take away like the speech bubbles and all that stuff, to me it would still tell a story visually, and that's what I love. I love the kind of medium where it's like even if I were to just see it visually, I could still get the story. I could still like it can still tell me a story even if it just had the visuals and no dialogue whatsoever. It's kind of like with silent films or something like that. It's really a great thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see. That art honestly keeps expanding, and this is one medium of art. You know, so yeah, there's definitely that idea that comics is an art form, just like how literature is an art form, or painting's an art form, or film is an art form. You know, it's there for expression of thoughts, and to spread messages and to tell stories. I don't think the art form is gonna go anywhere anytime soon, because just like any medium, or just like any kind of art, as long as there's a story to be told, as long as there's like a message to be spread, you know, like I said, no matter the topic, there's still gonna be people doing comics, kind of like how there will always be people doing movies, or doing literature, or painting, sculpting, just a lot of these different things that people do to express themselves and to to just spread creativity and to inspire people. And yeah, I honestly think that's the point of art, is to inspire people, to make them think about the world that they live in. And so, yeah, that's definitely something about comics that I feel is very similar to literature or film. Like any real art form.